Welcome to the Nifty Nuggets weekly news and reviews podcast show. This week we're putting a white glove on a hot hand of justice as we talk about Jabbawockeez NFT tickets. We'll also be talking about PWC's entry into crypto. Is mass adoption closer than we think, with the US Treasury announcing NFT plans? And also there'll be a chance to join us in Nugsville. But before we jump into the fryer, make sure you hit the bell notification so you know when the next episode drops. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and leave a comment below. You can also get us direct into your ears via Apple Podcast and Spotify. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at NuggetsNifty. Now, let's get on with the show.
Nuggets Network.
Hello and welcome to Nugsville. Joining me again, once again, is Channing, and he's going to be bringing lots of information for us. So Channing, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm fantastic. How are you, my friend?
Yes, very good, very good. I'm pleased that the UK are finally awakening to the powers of crypto. However, we'll talk about that more later on. Before we get onto the first topic and look through the markets, I just want to remind everyone that this show is for entertainment purposes only. Neither myself or Channing are financial advisors, so do not take this as financial advice. Make sure you do your own research and enjoy the show. We also have a special treat this week where you'll have the opportunity to officially join us in the Nuggets server by leaving a comment below, and there's going to be a secret password somewhere in this podcast episode, and we'll reveal what the password is towards the end of the show. So without further ado, Channing, if you'd like to take us through the markets.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to see new people's new faces into the Nugsville. All right, let's talk about the general market. Having a look at the charts and the market cap. The market cap is sitting around 2 trillion. It has reduced about 10% last time we talked about it. Last time was 2.2 something, right? And the last 24 hours, that's 3.1% downtrend already. And the trading volume as well. Trading volumes is barely hitting $100 million. And that's a massive deduction as well. Dominance-wise, market dominance, Bitcoin is at 39.1% and Ethereum is 18.7%. As we said before, it looks like a bull run is ahead of us, and the Bitcoin is decreasing and the Ethereum market dominance is increasing. That's normally the first sign of a bull market, even though the last 7 days we are seeing a lot of red into the market. Having a look at the market, the Bitcoin price is $42.5 thousand last 24 hours, a 2.9% down, and last 7 days that's 8.1% down. Ethereum price is around 3,200 at the moment, and last 24 hours is minus 2.5%, and last 7 days is minus 6.8%. Everything is in red, and I am super happy about it.
So why are you happy? Because normally red could be perceived as a bad thing.
Right, of course. But the thing is, when there is blood on the street, it's time to scoop some cryptos. I mean, we don't give financial advice at all. But last week we've talked about how to take profit, and when the market is in the green and is in the greed, it's normally time to take some profit. I'm not saying like you should sell all of your bags, but take some profit to, just for the rain days like now. So right now, I'll say it's a better position than last week to enter the market or dollar cost averaging in. But we don't give any financial advices, just to make sure.
Could you raise the point with regards to the fear and greed index and how you use that as an indicator to time your entries and exits out of the market? So what does the fear and greed index look like now?
Right. On the 1 to 100 scale, the fear and greed index is pointing to 30, which is fear. So anything between 25 to 50, that's fear. So market is feeling the fear now. And last week, we're feeling neutral, which is 52. That's more than 50. And last month of this time is 28. So we're back to the 28 to 30 range already. We don't know what the market holds or what's going to happen tomorrow or in the future. But when it becomes to be in the fear range, maybe we should try to double it back in.
Well, that makes sense. And that's something that I look to try to do myself. So with regards to the fear and greed index, and has that affected the trading volumes in OpenSea in particular?
Right. So in the Opensea, we actually are better because when the bull market starts on the traditional crypto side, we can see a downtrend. Oopsie. We can see a downtrend on the NFT part because we're still valuing NFTs with dollar value these days. So let's say Ethereum is about $4,000 and an NFT is cost 5 Ethereums. That takes the NFT price is 20 grand. But if the price of Ethereum goes to 5,000, we can imagine the floor price of that particular NFT will drop to 4 Ethereum to make it still a $20,000 worth of NFT.
And I just want to jump in there, Channing, and just say that's something that's really important because if you're less experienced in this field, you may look at the decrease in the floor price of a project and get scared off and think, oh, something must be a matter with it because the floor price in terms of Ethereum value is dropping. But it's also, like you said, vitally important just to remember that have a look at the price of Ethereum and then transfer that into the dollar value. So I think that's a real good point.
And let's have a look at the trading volumes of this month. We are about 8 to 9 days, depends on where you are in the world, into this month. And then we are already seeing $1 billion of the trading volume. And last month was horrible compared to the last 2 months. And it was $2.5 billion. So if we repeat what we did for the last 8 days, and then we can definitely bypass last month. And then therefore we can go to maybe, just maybe, another bull market of the NFTs. And then that's showing on this graph as well. If you're on YouTube, you would be able to see this graph over here. If not, you can go to the dunes.xyz to check out this chart. Okay, and that's about the general market. Shall we begin with some mass adoption news?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
Okay, the first news I would like to bring to the public is the PwC has reported more than 80% of the central banks are considering launching a CBDC. So a CBDC is central bank digital currency, which is different from our normal currency because it will be on-chain and will be governed by your government. So that means it's centralized.
And just for further context, for people who may not understand, would you just be able to briefly explain what on-chain means?
Right, so that's actually a good part and about a bad part. So the CBDC is centralized digital currency, which means it's opposite to the Bitcoin, which is decentralized. But they are using the same technology, which is blockchain. So that's when the part on-chain means. So everything on-chain will be visible and traceable. That means every dollar you spend, the government sees. Before, if you're using a bank card or a credit card, they can trace it. But if you're using cash, it's pretty hard to trace. But right now, if we are fully adapting the blockchain, we're using the CBDC, that means government can trace every dollar down. So they can be able to control about the financial status of the people, and they can actually see who is poor and who is rich. So the good side about that is next time if they want to do a stimulation plan to, just to drop some money on the poor people, they can actually do it by analyzing the on-chain data. Whereas right now we having trouble to do that because all you have to do is file a report or evidence, which is not 100% accurate. But once it's on chain, that's pretty easy to tell. But on the downside, as we can imagine, everything is controlled by the government. So we'll see how we as investors or people we call degens in this field to see if we can adapt that.
Yes, and I think the key word that you used for me was control. And the more control the government have, the less control we have. And there might be a case in the future where, say for instance, myself, I might be part of a CBDC and the government decide to stop payments coming in or payments going out. So I would then have no way of accessing my funds. Whereas with the DeFi or decentralized finance side of things, I can't be stopped. No one can freeze my MetaMask or stop me from using my Ethereum or any other coins that I have on the MetaMask wallet, and there are other wallets out there. So it's just an interesting conundrum. Once again, it's a double-edged sword because it will, in my opinion, hopefully encourage mass adoption, and then from that mass adoption, you would like to think that people will then realize the benefits of DeFi and start moving more towards DeFi and further away from centralization.
Exactly. I think that's a good point. And on the flip side of the coin, we can see that there are so much scams going around in this world, in this Web3 world, and there's no way we can stop it or reverse that. But if the coins are on chain, maybe, just maybe, the government can black mark the coins because they can trace every coin goes around the blockchain. So they can black mark them and then freeze them and then reissue the money that was stolen from the victims and just give it back. So that will somehow create a balance. We'll see how it goes because everything that we just talked about is pure speculations because there's no way we can tell what's going to happen in the future, of course.
What, you mean you don't have a crystal ball that tells the future perfectly accurately?
And then talking about mass adoption, I've seen on the news that UK Royal is going to mint their NFTs this summer. And
Well,
yeah, being a UK person, I mean, you're from the Great Britain, right? So can you shed some light on that one?
yeah, all I can say is God save our NFTs, because I think it's interesting. It shows the announcement itself, and just for anyone listening, the links to the reference material that we're using will be provided below, so you feel free to check them out so you can read more deeply for yourself. But initially, the announcement doesn't really give any details. There's no clear information as to when it's going to happen, what's going to happen, so on and so forth. But I view this as a statement of intent. And the reason why I say that is because the government in UK want to try and, in essence, be the first kind of movers or be appealing to people within the crypto space by trying to make England or the UK the hotbed, in to use a word that they coined, a hotbed for NFTs and cryptocurrencies. So like what has been going on in America, where they had a hearing with the SEC and just the government officials as a whole, America was accused of potentially allowing themselves to fall behind other nations. And one thing we know about governments around the world is that they're power hungry. All they care about is power and control. And if, say, America loses their initial head start that they may have had within cryptocurrency, because they're coming down hard on securities and stable coins, so on and so forth, that may allow other people to take advantage. And last week we spoke about, or the last 2 weeks, we spoke about how Biden and the US Treasury were hoping to get more revenues from cryptocurrencies, taxes.
Yep, 11
But
billion.
if, yeah, 11 billion, which is crazy. So this is also another facet of why governments would want to get involved with cryptocurrencies, because not only will you entice more companies to trade or set up business in your country, you'll also be able to generate more revenue via taxes to help boost the funds, whatever they may be.
Yeah, it's not only the governments, it's all the companies nowadays. They try to enter the metaverse, they try to enter this cryptocurrency world. And I think half of them don't even know what the word metaverse means, and then they just want to slap the word onto it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's what it's like. People create. There's buzzwords. Metaverse was a buzzword, and before metaverse, it was, for lack of a better word, utility in the shape of a coin that you yielded from your NFT. So now it's just about being in this space. It's about trying to be ahead of the trends, identifying them, getting in before everybody else identifies it, and then trying to dollar cost average out of it so that you've still got some skin in the game, so to speak. And speaking of games, there's some news about Activision as well, jumping into NFTs, isn't there?
Oh, yes. Activision Blizzard might incorporate NFTs into Call of Duty games. That would be a massive hit if this rumor comes true. Last 2 weeks, we have been talking about the big gaming companies coming into the field. I think it was last week we talked about a card game that raised a lot of money, and then the week before we talked about PUBG into entering the metaverse. Apparently, if you don't, they are similar games. PUBG, what is the name called? I forgot. It's a survival game. So
Yeah, Players Unknown.
yeah, Players
Battlegrounds.
Unknown. Yes, yes, that was the one. That was one. I actually played the game before, but I forgot the name. So it's the Call of Duty and the Player Unknown is quite similar games. They are quite similar games. So if you are not going to mention the word metaverse or NFTs now, you are going to be left behind. And then we all know how good it is to be ahead of the herd, to be the first one into the metaverse.
Most definitely, it's kind of like a race to the finish. First movers advantage, like you said, because one of the first announcements that people may have heard of was when there was plans to potentially incorporate NFTs within Rainbow Six, and that got bashed by the supporters of the game and the gaming studio, but they still wanted to go ahead, and that's when they announced, obviously, that they were going to try and do it with PUBG. And I think everyone's not jumping on the bandwagon, but they realized the potential within gaming to make money. And the way in which they make money is that at this moment in time, companies, they'll make their game, they'll sell it, and they only make money on that first initial sale. Obviously, everything that goes around it, like advertising and so on and so forth, but it's just that first initial sale. Whereas the in-game market is big money as well, and the amount of money spent and generated within video games vastly outweighs all forms of entertainment. If you make a direct comparison between video games and the cinema, say, it pales in comparison. It's an absolute behemoth, the gaming industry. And Activision were recently purchased by Microsoft as well, and we all know how big of a player Microsoft is in the tech scene. So I mean, what do you think about Microsoft getting involved and buying Activision?
Actually, in my small circle, I caught it in January. So this purchase was in January, and that the news happened in the midnight of my time, in the Sydney time. And the second I heard about it, I was so happy, and I don't know, it was a mix of feelings, but that feeling was definitely strong, and I couldn't wait to tell every my friends and families about, oh my God, Microsoft just purchased the Blizzard company. That's going to be a huge deal. Apparently, I only texted the friends who are in the cryptocurrency world or NFT world, and then they were kind of confused. They were like, "It is not even related to cryptocurrencies. Why are you getting so excited?" And I was like, "You will see. You will see. It's definitely related to NFTs." So I think now my crypto ball. My crystal ball is showing is coming to fruition. It is related to NFTs because Microsoft and Facebook and Twitter, all these big companies, they can't be left behind. Whether or not it's going to be successful, they are going to try to dabble into this field for sure. And then not only them, even the regular market, regular people. And then this week we are talking about the Jabbawockeez White Gloves NFT tickets. They are issuing their ticket to their concert or event as a NFT. I think that is a massive, massive news. And we've been talking about this for a long time. NFTs as concert tickets or a game ticket. It's only a matter of time. And it seems like the Jabbawockeez are the first one who is doing that. What do you think of this one, CryptoBeers?
Yeah, I think, like you said, in terms of use cases of NFTs and blockchain technology, it's a good step in the right direction because it can only encourage mass adoption further. I think it may make it a bit more convenient as well. For instance, not having to worry about printing out tickets or whether it's going to come into like online, say like if you use Apple Wallet, whether that's going to work, so on and so forth. So I do think it's a step in the right direction, and also it can be used to commemorate an event.
You would be, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like proof that you attended, and there's something called a POAP, which is a proof of attendance protocol, which tends to be an NFT just to signify you've attended an event. Say, let's just say if a DJ hosts a DJ night on a particular server, they may give you a POAP just to prove that you was there, or to say that you can prove you was there. So yeah, I do like the announcement. So why do you like the announcement?
Well, I think there are two things. One thing you already mentioned is the POAP, the POAP, and the other thing is about authentications. I think NFTs, I'm a big believer in the NFT and cryptocurrency. And then the reason I believe into NFTs is authentication and the fractionalized things. So let's talk about the authentication. We've all been to, or at least I have been to the situation whereas there are certain shows or events that the ticket is so hard to buy, people are so hyped into it, and then you have to pay a premium on the secondary market to maybe pay the double of the price of the original price to get into your favorite show. But what happens is after you pay the money, they only give you a piece of paper which you have no idea if it is a real one, authentication, the genuine one or a fake one. They can just print it out multiple times and then give you a fake one. You wouldn't know until you went to the concert, you went to the place, and the ticket master is going to tell you, okay, your ticket just got checked in already. Or if you actually get into the concert, you can see, okay, your seat is taken, and then there are 2-3 people arguing about who is the actual owner of the seat already. So I've been to that place. But if we can implement NFT or on-chain data onto this thing, that would change a lot of things. So first of all, you can't duplicate your ticket, which means your ticket is 100% real. And it's super easy to verify it as well, because you can literally see where this ticket has been. Maybe it has been to the A's hand, B's hand, and then onto your hand. And then you can check by checking the on-chain data, you can see who has owned it before and whether or not it was minted from the official site. And then the second benefit of it is because maybe, just say maybe on the date of the concert, you realize that you have other things that's more important to do, therefore you can't attend. And you can sell it on the secondary market pretty quickly, because people can just buy a NFT on their phone and they don't even have to exchange the physical ticket. You can just buy it and then show it, verify it at the entrance. And that would just boost the market, like help the ticket market by so much in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree with you, because in the UK, one of the biggest, most regular occurring events are football games, known as soccer for our friends across the pond. But when you have a big football match that's playing, like the North London derby, which is between Arsenal and Tottenham, tickets are like gold dust. It's really hard to get hold of, and sometimes the market for buying tickets is very, very shady. So it's like, how do you actually go about buying the ticket? Because some clubs don't have a clear structure as to how you can buy that ticket or transfer it back. And also, if it's a high value, you might not be able to charge what you think would be a fair price for it on a secondary via the official merchant. So this gives you, the owner, a bit more freedom and flexibility with regards to how much you price it, because a game like that could go for double, triple the value of the market initial retail price. However, if that was to occur, it would be even more important for would-be buyers on the secondary market to make sure you use official links only, because we always say this in NFT land and crypto land as a whole: always use official links, because if you're always one click away from getting wrecked. And for those of you that don't know, getting wrecked means losing either all or a considerable amount of your funds or your valuable assets. So what you will see happening in the NFT space, say for instance Nifty Nuggets, we're on the IMX platform, which is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. However, so we're not available on Opensea. However, if you go onto Opensea and type in Nifty Nuggets NFT, you'll see that there's a fake collection which is being sold on the Polygon network. So if you don't use the official link provided, you may go to that dodgy link and buy a dud. Well, it would essentially be a JPEG at that point, and it wouldn't give you any of the utility that you get or would get from being part of the Nifty Nuggets family, so to speak. So just another kind of safety reminder for people, and that ties in neatly with literally the key special password. So I'm not going to spoon feed it to you, but the password that you would have to comment below in order to be in for the raffle to win a Discord invite for the Nifty Nuggets is going to be the company that bought Activision. So if you can remember who that is, great. If not, just scroll through the video and have a re-listen, and then enter your comment below. And don't forget to include any thoughts and that you may have. If you agreed or disagreed with what Channing or myself said, it's always great to hear from the community, because you're as much a part of this as we are, and we couldn't do it without you. So that is the end of the show. So Channing, thanks for joining again. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Is there any last words, parting words you'd like to say to the community before we wrap things up?
Just we can't stress enough how important it is to keep yourself safe. I mean, you just mentioned that buying from a secondary market may be risky because essentially you're just buying a JPEG that doesn't have any utility. But I just want to reiterate that this is not the worst case scenario just because you lost 1 or 2 ETH on your JPEG. But if you're interacting your contract with a website, potentially not only you'll lose your NFT, but you would lose everything inside of your wallet, because you might be interacting with the contract that has full control of your wallet. So that would get your wallet drained within a split second. So just be extra careful, always double check. And sometimes, even though the website look alike, they might be replacing the letter O to a number 0. So that happens as well. I just can't stress this enough. Just keep yourself safe, double check and ask a friend maybe. So yeah, I think that would be it. Thank you very much for the show, CryptoVS.
No problem. And before we go, remember folks, make sure you smash the bell notification so that you know when the next episode is going to drop. Subscribe to the channel, like what you've seen, leave a comment below. Also, you can get us direct into your ears via Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and be sure to follow us on Twitter @NuggetsNifty. So until next time, stay crispy.
Bye bye.